I am so glad that I was just pouring my heart out and absolutely nothing was actually being streamed while I did it. That makes me feel very, very clever. Go me. Anyway. So what I was going to say before I was so rudely not actually saying a damn thing is that I wanted to go ahead and point out that nostalgia doesn't exist in a vacuum. Usually when we discuss this, it's looking backwards. I've got the 1991 D&D Rules Cyclopedia open here. It's got a note about pronouns, which is saying we're using the male pronouns for consistency. We don't want anyone to feel left out, which would be a very good gesture if they didn't ruin it by saying centuries of use have made these pronouns neutral. No, centuries of male-centric writing has made these pronouns the default. These are two completely different things. That was dumb then, and it's dumb now. However, tonight I'm talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And there have been warnings added on Drive-Thru-RPG pointing out that we can understand that there are things that today we look back and we realize that they're harmful and hateful, but at the time were just normal. But, and this is a very important point, the creators of the game I'm looking at tonight went bankrupt due to some very bad business decisions. Their intellectual property was then purchased by a company that consisted of true fans of what TSR had created. And then that company was purchased by Hasbro. And Hasbro is currently in the process of ruining practically everything that bears the Wizards of the Coast name. Purchasing these 35-year-old books from Drive-Thru-RPG means that I am supporting modern-day Hasbro in a very small way, but it's still, you vote with your wallet, right? In my opinion, one of the best shows ever created was The Good Place. And one of the underlying ideas in The Good Place was that in the modern day, none of us can escape the sins of the current world. I've been playing Might and Magic, which is a game from 1982. I bought it from GOG.com, which has begun using AI to help them in the restoration of games, which means they're supporting data centers that are ruining the lives of the people who live near them and people completely unrelated, nowhere near those data centers. And they're using this to speed up. I like nostalgia, but we don't need this. And then on top of that, part of the money that I spend on Might and Magic goes to the current owners of the Might and Magic IP, Ubisoft, who are not the worst company because EA still exists. In my mind, there are some things that you're going to want to engage in. And I think that the important thing there is that you don't ignore your choices. There's a point where it goes from just an innocent little thing which happens to have domino effects to something. I mean, obviously, I've got this ally patch on my shirt. I definitely don't want to be supporting anything having to do with Harry Potter, because that is actively being used against large numbers of people. And for everything, there's catch-22 of looking at what you're doing and deciding how much harm is being caused, but accepting your decisions may hurt or offend. With that in mind, I do feel that looking at the history of TTRPGs is important and hopefully entertaining. So, with all that in mind, and with an understanding of that, I want to welcome you back to my childhood. But since I am talking about Wizards of the Coast anyway, I do need to point out that there is a union from the workers behind Magic the Gathering Arena. It is the UnitedWizardsOfTheCoast.com, or you can visit their page at UnitedWizardsOfTheCoast.com. I will have that address on the screen while I do this. Magic Arena has become a joke because of the decisions that are being made about everything that Wizards of the Coast touches. And every single voice that says, no, stop, is important. Okay. Wanted to start off because I felt that was important enough not to ignore. And what I also can't ignore is that Twitch is not working again. Stupid Twitch. Okay, well, my understanding is that it's fine for as long as you're not watching it on your computer, so sorry about that. Let's be about it. It is a Thursday night, and I am the Screaming Wyvern. I call myself Wyvern because I hoard role-playing games like a dragon, but I'm also unbalanced and occasionally toxic. And tonight, I am coming off a week and a half of doing little other than playing Might and Magic. Right now, the focus is on the World of Xeen, Might and Magic 4 and 5. I actually tried to do just Might and Magic 4 all the way through before going to 5, but Might and Magic 4 was built for max level 20 characters, and 5 was made for max level 100 and something characters, so I have dipped into the Darkside of Xeen just to get better treasures. The point is, I've been thinking a lot about 1991, not 1985, despite what the Bowling with Soup song says. The fact that I am currently looking at a game with a copyright date of 1984 is funny, but should otherwise be completely ignored. This is where I'd probably put out some exciting trivia about everything, but the fact is that tonight we're talking about BECMI. 1974, the year I was born, what would later be TSR, released the first Dungeons and Dragons booklets. A few years later, we had Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and then we had the basic set, well known as a red book, followed by the expert set, well known to be a blue book. Then in 1983, we got what was basically the second edition of the basic set. And that's the one that I grew up with. It's referred to as BECMI for Basic, Expert, Companion, Master, and Immortals. It went all the way up to level 36 with a huge asterisk on that. And I've never actually done anything past the basic set. No, that's not true. That's not true. I actually did an entire campaign of the Isle of Dread, which was from the expert set. So I haven't done anything past the expert set, except read them until the books fell apart. It is with great regret that I look back and realize that I no longer have those books. But I also used to have a lot of Magic the Gathering cards from the revised edition. And yeah, sometimes the needs of space outweigh the needs of nostalgia. Or something equally stupid. Tonight, we are looking at, in fact, I will go ahead and zoom in on what we are looking at. We are looking at... That was not the right button. Let's try this again. The Ghosts of Lion Castle. BSOLO was the release number, because this was basic set solo game. There are, if I remember correctly, a total of 5 official TSR solo adventures. 3 of them, this one, obviously. What's the other 2? X Solo Lathan's Gold and X Solo 2 Thunderdelve Mountain are considered to be very good. I can't say that it's the kind of book where you would choose your adventure on your own for legal reasons. But game book is probably the safe way of mentioning it. There were 2 other solo experiences, and I believe I had one of them. The problem was that this was back in the days of invisible ink. I remember many times that you'd be able to pick up one of those at the gas station when you were on a road trip, and go ahead and play tic-tac-toe against the nothing by seeing where the invisible ink hid everything. Downside to this is that not only can it only be played once, there was a pretty good chance that it couldn't even be played once because the invisible ink marker would get dried out and be ultimately useless. So I did not play this particular one. Beautiful picture of Sturges there. But this is a much preferable kind of solo adventure here. So let's go ahead and begin at the beginning. You'll need the basic rules, which I have open on another screen. A set of polyhedral dice, which you see there. Paper, pencil, and an eraser. Don't use pens, because things might change. I don't think there's too much here which is extremely important. So I'll just go ahead and summarize most of it. So either you can create a character, or you can let's see, I think it's saying you can't use any spell, magic, item, or equipment that is not listed on page 3132. So yeah, you have to have these characters' magic items. So these are pre-rolled characters. I am going to be using Leesmith. Leesmith is a first level elf. This is where my love for the race as character class that Dungeon Crawl Classics uses started from. Let me just go ahead and jot these down. A BECMI elf is a combination fighter mage. And you'll see here, if you're familiar with the Dungeons and Dragons statistics, that we have a high strength and intelligence here. A whopping 5 hit points. Now, we do have an armor class of 4, which means that we have to discuss the most frightening thing for any modern person who is looking at a classic Dungeons and Dragons game. When you are attacking, you look at your character's THAC0, 2-hit, armor class 0. You then subtract the armor class from that number. So if in the modern day you would have a 50-50 chance of hitting something, your THAC0 would be 20, not 10, 20, to show that an unarmed unarmored creature, which has an armor class of 10, would be a 50-50 chance for you to hit. So there is surprisingly more calculations needed in the old days than what we're used to in the modern era. Let me go ahead and quickly grab character classes, an elf at level 1. It's not listed there. Let's go ahead and check encounters and combat. Okay. Morale. Here we go. So yes, here is a very easy and very simple summary of what you need to know. So let's see. A magic user, a cleric, thief, or dwarf, a fighter. Wait. No, that's druid. That's druid. Okay, so fighters and demi-humans. So I have a to-hit armor class 0 of 19. Yes, I do love the modern versions of games. I very much do prefer that. So let me go ahead and slide that back over here now that I have the information for it. No, you closed too many things there. Where is my... There we go. Okay, so I have my character chosen. Oh, I should go back here and note that they have one spell, and that spell is Read Magic. Now, you can only cast Memorize spells, and you can only cast them up to your daily maximum, which for a first level elf is going to be 1. My character can... Do I have a place for languages here? Okay, I don't have a place for languages here. I'll put it under special skills or powers. They can speak Bugbear, Common. Thankfully, they can speak Elf. They can also speak Gnoll, Hobgoblin. The speech of neutrality, it was assumed that all lawful beings had their own way of speaking to each other, and all neutral and all chaotic people. And finally, Orc. Now, that is important because there will be the option of trying to communicate with creatures. It is pretty impressive that my character at this level already has a +1 sword. And here we have iron rations, which is important because non-intelligent creatures might be convinced not to give chase if I throw food to them. Don't want to be switching back and forth. A large sack. That's what she said. A magic journal. Oh, yeah, the magic journal is something that I have as part of this game, along with maps. One potion of healing. And finally, a ring of protection. Is there anything else I need to keep track of? Not on here. Okay, back to the top I go. This is a solo adventure. You read entries just like this one. Each entry asks you to make a decision, or simply direct you to the next entry. Most entries will give you several options. You should keep track of what you're doing. If you find an item, put it on your list. If you lose an item, take it off your list. And then this right here is similar to the first solo role-playing game I played, what was it, almost 2 years ago, where there is a magic journal which allows me to point out that Leesmith died in this room, and therefore their skeleton can be found with all their gear by a future person that we play. There's mappings. All the wall, ceilings, and floor are made of stone. When you encounter a monster, there's a combat checklist. I should make sure I have a copy of that up on another screen. Okay, that's a lovely idea, but where actually is that? Okay, there I go. Normal stuff, initiative. Whoever wins initiative gets to do their attacks, and then the other team, and then it repeats until one or the other side is defeated. So yeah, here's the rules. If you choose to throw a food or treasure to a monster, you can give them treasure if you can speak their language, or you can throw food, and there's a 50-50 chance of it taking your gift or not. And there's retreating. And they take their stuff with them. If you decide to cast a spell when you attack a monster, you cannot use hand-to-hand combat in the same round because my only spell is Read Magic. I don't think that's going to be that exciting. If a giant bee stings you, the bee dies, but you must make a saving throw versus poison. If a scourge hits you, it attaches itself to you. Lycanthropes, you can use a sprig of wolfsbane to chase them away. You can get diseased by giant rats. Yodel, yodel, yodel. Also, since I'm an elf, I don't have to worry about fighting monsters in the dark. And I have a list of wandering monsters. Somewhere. Table 2, Wandering Monsters. So basically, I've got a list of it's just a couple of pages down. More information about spells. But yeah, here we have it. So if I'm on castle level 5, then I roll a d10, which could be a tiger, a lion, no bear. Oh my. Or if I'm in a lower area, then I could be dealing with giant rats and goblins. But let's go ahead and begin at the beginning. Roars of laughter and the sound of hearty voices and song rise from the tables of the warm, smoky tavern. You make your way through the crowd, randomly dropping your microphone, listening as people talk of the great wizard Sargon and his haunted castle. Several of the tavern's patrons are apprentices of local magic users, and that is your occupation as well. You have joined the others tonight in the village of Sarsdell to trade stories and talk of your favorite topic, Lion Castle. Sargon was the greatest magic user of all time, he was, says an old woman who has stopped at your table. No magic worked on him, no sir, none but his own. Well, I see warlocks, wizards, and sorcerers pass through here every day, and not one of them will go near that lion castle of his. They're afraid they'll lose all of their powers. Not us, ma'am, says one of your friends. We have nothing to lose and everything to gain by exploring Sargon's castle. What is this lion castle? A newcomer asks. The tavern keeper, who has told this story many times before, eagerly steps forth to inform the newcomer. Sargon was a strong wizard indeed, son, and his castle was a sight to behold. He built it on the grassland plains of the land they now call the Ethengar Khanate. Lion Castle is a beauty, son. She rises above the landscape, built so she looks like a great cat about to pounce. The newcomer is entranced. You smile because you know how the story goes. The tavern keeper continues. Sargon's ghost resides there now, along with more than a few creatures, I suspect. The old wizard's ghost haunts the hallways, waiting for a worthy heir. Well, plenty have tried to enter that great stone cat after having heard of all its great magical rewards. Not many return, though, and would you believe those who make it back have turned into wild creatures? Whole armies have been defeated trying to enter Lion Castle, but they never knew its secret. What secret? What secret? The newcomer pleads. Only one person at a time may pass through the magical defenses of Lion Castle, son, and magic users and elves are about the only ones who even stand a chance. The tavern keeper's tale has stirred you and the others once again, and you decide to draw lots to see who will be the first to enter Sargon's Lion Castle. The tavern keeper gladly watches over your table, waiting to see who will go forth to face Sargon's ghost. The lots are drawn. You are chosen. The tavern keeper claps his hand and skips back to a cabinet in the back of the room. You're a lucky one, my friend, he says as he pulls pieces of parchment from the cabinet. Take these maps and this magic journal with you. If you do not survive your quest, this journal magically reappears here in the tavern, so your friends and I know what sort of fate you befell. The tavern keeper hands you the journal and some incomplete maps of the castle. Others before you were able to finish the map of this much before retiring. Finish these maps and find that ghost, and you will be a hero indeed. Now, listen closely, says one of your friends. Follow the Streel River east for 6 days, and then hike north for 2. After 8 days, you should be able to see that great stone lion rising from the plain. Be careful as you approach it, another friend cautions. Wild beasts may attack you. The tavern keeper breaks in. You'll come to the outer curtain wall and you'll see towers and gatehouses. Once you get beyond the curtain, you have to cross the outer ward. From there, friend, you can explore the castle's towers, gatehouses, and inner levels. Somewhere in that castle roams the ghost of Sargon, waiting for you to inherit all his possessions. In the morning, you pack for your journey, study your spellbook, and prepare your weapon. You pack 3 weeks of worth of iron rations for the long quest. Your friends accompany you to the edge of Sarsdell, shake your hand, and wish you luck. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you, one of your friends says. Legends say that entering the castle at night is very unwise. Rest before you enter and approach in the light of dawn. You thank your friends and then turn to leave. Oh, yeah, real? I'm thanking this guy? Oh, hey, we're sending you to death, but wait until morning to die. Just a little tip there. You cross the river by ferry and turn east to walk along the river. The great grassland of the Ethengar Khanate stretches out ahead of you. 6 days pass. You have seen few animals since you left Sarsdell, and you have talked to no one. You turn north away from the riverbank and begin crossing the flat grasslands. As the sun begins to set on the 8th day, a slight gray mound appears on the north horizon. The head of a huge stone beast pokes above the waving grass. Lion Castle stands ahead, only 1 day away. Dawn comes quickly, and you set out towards the castle. The time seems to drag. Finally, in the late afternoon, you come across a slight rise in the land. All of Lion Castle stands majestically before you. Let's not overlook the fact that we have the beauty available to us to see. Dawn comes quickly. I said that part. A 10-foot-high outer curtain wall stretches for 255 feet at the base of the castle. 20-foot-high towers rise from the wall, which is rimmed by a dry moat. Lion Castle itself rests on a 10-foot-high mound within the outer curtain wall. The lion's head raises 66 feet from the mound. Its great roaring mouth faces west. Subtract 9 days worth of rations from your character sheet. 21 minus 9 is 12. I can do math. If you circle to the east, circle to the west, or decide to rest here. So we're going to go ahead and take the suggestion and go to follow the steps at entry R15. Gracious. Subtract 1 day rations from your character sheet. Roll a 6-sided die. That is a 4. If you roll a 1, a wandering monster surprises you as you sleep. If you do not encounter a wandering monster while you are resting, add 1 hit point to your hit point score. You can study your spellbook and regain any spells. So yeah, nothing too exciting there. If you enter over the west wall, enter over the north wall, enter through the outer gatehouse, or enter through the postern gatehouse. Let me just go ahead and okay. So, based on the description, I should be here somewhere. So I can go the west. It's not really extremely useful information just yet. If I want to enter over the west wall, or enter over the north wall, or enter through the outer gatehouse, or enter through the postern gatehouse, I think that I am here. I like how subtly these are the same entry. Okay, so let's go to C14 and see what we see. A wall of the outer curtain stands before you. If you have the proper spells or magic items, you may levitate, you turn gaseous, or use a rope of climbing. You can also try and turn invisible at the same time. I have a potion of gaseous form, so I might as well use that. Also, I just put it down as potion of gaseous, so C15. Everything you're carrying falls through your body as you turn gaseous. You are still holding the magic journal and the maps, however. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to C8, prepare to continue my quest, and not try to go through walls. The outer gatehouse was the one in the rear, and the postern gatehouse is the one on the north. I think I'm going to go for the postern gatehouse. C35. You're standing before the postern gatehouse. 2 sets of thick wooden doors stand open inside the gatehouse. Beyond the doors, a long tunnel leads into the darkness. You can enter by becoming invisible, turning gaseous, no thank you. Well, I can't anymore anyway. Or just walking. Murder holes pierce the ceiling between the 2 sets of wooden doors in the gatehouse. I am going to carefully move under the holes. Sharp rocks rain down through the murder holes as you pass under them. Make a saving throw versus wands. Yes, they called this the basic edition, and yet there were a lot of different saving throws. Death ray and poison, magic wands, paralysis turned to stone, breath attack, rod, staff, and spells. So yes, there is, if someone uses a wand for a death ray, that is a different number than if they just cast a death ray. A saving throw versus wands. The number I have here is 13. Let me just quickly make sure I remember if it's meet or beat. If he rolls or exceeds the number shown, meets and beats. Okay, so I need a 13. I would say 20. And that is a 3. If your saving throw fails, you take 1d4 points of damage. 1 in this case. If you flee forward, I feel like stand still is probably not the best choice, so let's go ahead and flee forward. The second set of wooden doors slams shut behind you. You cannot open the doors. You cannot levitate, turn gaseous, become invisible, or use a rope of climbing here. You are in a dark tunnel. You're in the Lion's Tail Tunnel. This dark 5-foot wide stone tunnel rises 10 feet into the darkness. The tunnel runs for 55 feet and then opens into a semicircular chamber. The chamber is 15 feet in diameter. A raised portcullis rests above the west wall of the chamber. A dark hallway leads west beyond the portcullis. You encounter a wandering monster in the tunnels. If you have no light source, follow the guidelines in R13, but mostly we're just going to go ahead and roll on the tablet. Okay, so I am in the tail tunnel, so I roll a 12-sided die and add 9 to it. That is more than 12. That is 12. 20. Yes. A 20 is a sturge. Okay, so I am currently at L5. So the sturge has an armor class of 7. Oh, my eyes are so bad. Very funny. Five hit points. And deals 1 to 3 points of damage. If I had a spell, it would do a saving throw as a second level fighter, and it's got a high morale. What's the worst that can happen? Okay, so step 1. Is to roll for initiative. I get a 3. It gets a 3. I get a 2. It gets a 1. So I have the first attack. So its armor class is 7. So that means that I need a 12. And that's a 4. A 4 is not a 12. And I don't have a quick cheat sheet for its THACO. Monsters hit dice. There we go. Okay, I should share this. So there's the hit roll chart, and as you can see, monster's not expected to fight anything with a high armor class. So that's funny, I think. Okay, where's my wandering monster table? Okay, so it has 1 hit die. So it needs a 15 to hit me. And it has rolled an 18. So first off, I take the D3 damage, which of course is maxed out. Things are starting to look bad for our hero. I have 1 hit point remaining. Now, it has that lovely ability where it's basically a large, fleshy mosquito. If a scourge hits you, it attaches to you and causes 1 to 3 points of damage per round until it's defeated. Okay, so new round. Back in those days, initiative would be rolled at the beginning of each turn. Mine is a 3. It is a 1, which is good because I can't do diddly squit. To stop it from doing a point of damage to me and killing me. Actually, I should not I should use my potion of healing. No, I cannot drink my potion of healing while I'm fighting a monster. I will go ahead and attack with my sword, and I have rolled a 16, which is a lovely number. I have a long sword. Oh, I have a normal sword plus 1. So that's an 8-sided die. 4 and 5 kills the Scourge. Now I am very much going to drink that healing potion to restore all my damage. Okay. This is starting out absolutely fine. So now I have no potion of healing. Let's see. I do get to take advantage of defeating the creature. It is worth 13 experience. I may get a bonus for my high intelligence, but I don't care enough to check. And also, the Scourge is somehow carrying a gem worth 225 gold. My my time in MMOs mean that I shouldn't be surprised by this, but that's still pretty impressive. But since I don't have anyone to sell stuff to, it's not really that useful yet. Okay. If you defeat the monster, then you can go through the portcullis. Otherwise, read entry C42. I wonder if C42 is just someone pointing at you and laughing. So yeah, we'll go ahead and go to entry L20. The portcullis falls as you pass under it. Make a saving throw versus wands. If your saving throw succeeds, you take no damage. Otherwise, you take 1d4 damage. Okay, so again, wands was 13. And once again, that is a very small number compared to what I wanted to roll. This time I take 3 points of damage. So that grabbing of the potion was not necessarily the most useful. You can jump forward or you can jump backwards. I am going to keep going, though it's be foolish. You are on castle level 1. This dark hallway is 5 feet wide and 78 feet long. For the record, I'm supposed to be mapping this. The rules actually say that one of the players is supposed to be a mapper and one of the players is supposed to be a caller. And the caller is the only one who gives instructions on what the party is doing to the game master for fear of it getting confusing. That's a hilariously outdated concept for people who actually enjoy role-playing. A closed portcullis blocks the east end, no doubt. And as you can see, there's for details on mapping the areas, you cannot. Okay, double doors stand at the hallway's west end. You cannot open the portcullis or the doors. Stables line the north and south walls of the room. Straw fills all of the stables. 2 sets of spiral staircases lead from this room. The door to the southwest staircase stands 5 feet from the double doors. Double doors. The door to the northwest staircase stands behind the stables along the north wall. Beyond the stables to the east, 2 doors line the north wall and 3 doors line the south. A carved sign has been hung on each door. The signs on the north doors are in common and read from west to east, stairs and food storage. The signs on the south doors are also in common and read from west to east, blacksmith, kitchen entrance, and kitchen exit. I clearly should rest again, even though that's only going to give me back 1 hit point. Probably doing that in the kitchen would be useful. So let's go to L18. This kitchen is 12 feet wide and 20 feet long. Utensils and pans lie scattered about on the floor. 2 doors stand in the north wall. A silver kitchen knife lies on the floor. You may use it as a dagger. If you take the knife, add it to your character sheet, and then cross out where it says a silver kitchen knife, etc. Let's go ahead and just put that down as a silver dagger. If you go through either door, read entry L4. I can't edit on here. Let's see. Can I? Let's see. L18 took the silver dagger. Okay, so if you go through either door, read entry L4, which may sound very familiar. Okay, so I have been through into the kitchen entrance door, and I'm still hungry. So let's go to the food storage at L17. This dark entry food pantry is roughly 12 feet wide and 15 feet long. 1 door stands in the south wall. Check for a wandering monster. To check for such an encounter, roll 1d6. If you roll a 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6, you do not encounter a monster, and you may go on the adventure. If you rolled a 1, you encounter a wandering monster. I feel like there was a certain amount of redundancy there. That is a 2. I do not find a wandering monster. So, yeah. Someone's already eaten all the food. Okay, we're running out of cool places to visit. Let's go ahead and try the blacksmith at L19. The blacksmith shop is roughly 12 feet wide and 15 feet long. Part of the south wall curves outward. A door in this wall leads to a spiral staircase. Another door stands in the north wall. A blacksmith's hammer lies in the ashes of a forge in this room. You may use the hammer as a mace. Okay, I have a confession to make. I am currently reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, which means loot everything. So I can go back through the north door, or I can go ahead and go through the spiral staircase door. Let's do the spiral staircase. A single arrow slit lights the spiral staircase, which leads up and down. A door that leads to the north stands at this landing. Going down the stairs has never been a bad choice. A single arrow slit lights the spiral staircase, which leads up and down. A door that leads to the west stands at a landing halfway down these stairs, between Castle Level 1 and the East Dungeon. Let's go ahead and... I'm wondering where that arrow slit is, if that's the same one from above or not. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out what's through the west door. You are on Castle Level 1. 3 arrow slits in the west wall light this 5-foot wide, 20-foot long chamber. A door stands in the curved east wall of this room. Check for a wandering monster. There is a wandering monster. Where is my list? Where is my list? Okay, so I am on Castle Level 1. So 1d12 plus 6. Where's the 12? 11, so 17. That is a giant fire beetle. It has an armor class of 4, which I don't like. That means that I need a 15. And it has... one hit die, but it has 7 hit points. It bites for a lot. Let's just see if the fire beetle is on the list anywhere. As far as special abilities are concerned, bee, sturge, lycanthrope, giant rat. No, it's just a big, scary as poop. I think it's a 1+, so this could be bad. Let's see who goes first. Okay, so it goes second. I can skip my turn to try and throw it some food. Which leaves me with 10 rations. Let's see. It's not saying that this causes me to skip my... During this part of step B on the combat checklist. What is step B on the combat checklist? Okay, the side that wins... The side that wins the initiative acts first. Morale check, movement, magic spells, hand-to-hand combat. So there we go. My defensive maneuver will count as my only action. And the minimum damage this guy can do is 2 points. Okay, so I need a 1, 2, or 3. That is a 1. I have managed to make it feel good. I have also managed to forget to put down where I left. Okay, so let's go back to 4. Courtyard. Nope. L4. I went to the blacksmith, L19. I went through the spiral staircase door, L39. I went down the stairs, L54. I went through the west door, L63. If you encounter and defeat a monster or there is no monster, then we go to L54. That just leads me right back, doesn't it? Suppose that makes sense for a tower wall. L54. So we continue down the stairs to L64. You are at the bottom of a dark spiral staircase. A door at this landing leads to the north. L73 to go through the north door. You are on Lion Castle's You are on Lion Castle's East Dungeon level. I have too many copies of this open. Let's try this. Cobwebs hang from the ceiling and walls here. This dark hallway runs north, south, and east, west. Doors at the north and south end at the hallway lead to spiral staircase. 2 doors stand at the east and west ends of the hallway. 4 more doors line the hallway. Carved signs have been hung on all doors in this hallway except for the doors that lead to staircases. The sign on the west door reads Treasury. The sign on the east door reads Wine Cellar. The signs on the north door read from west to east, Pet Food and Winemaker. The signs on the south door read from west to east, storage and brewery. Let's go ahead and check out the wine cellar. This dark semicircular room has a diameter of 17 feet. A door stands in the west wall. Liquid-filled bottles line the walls of the room. You cannot carry a bottle out of the room. If you try, the bottle simply stops in midair as you reach the door. If you want to take a sip from the bottle, read entry L45. Okay, obviously, this is a trap. It literally cannot get any more trappy than the trap. So let's go ahead and walk into the trap. L45 it is. Roll 3d6. If the total is less than or equal to your constitution score, you taste the sweet liquid. If the total is greater than your constitution score, your vision blurs and your knees wobble. You have a hit roll penalty of -1 for the rest of the time you are on an L entry. 1, 2, that's 4, less than or equal. 5. So that is definitely less than my constitution of 12. So the west door is the room's only exit. Back to L73. Well, let's go ahead and do a little robbery on the storage door. This dark room is 12 feet wide and 15 feet long. A door stands in the north wall. A leather tube containing a scroll lies on the dusty floor in this room. The scroll holds 3 spells: Continual Light, Sleep, and Web. One of these things is very, very useful. The other 2 are quite useful. So, Continual Light. Not the most exciting thing. Sleep and Web. And again, the north door is the room's only exit, L73. You know, just because it was a terrible idea before doesn't mean that it's going to be a terrible idea now. Winemaker door. This dark room is 12 feet wide and 15 feet long. A door stands in the south wall. 1 wine press stands in the center of the room. There is a monster. I am in Castle Dungeon East, if I remember correctly. 1d12 plus 8. $11-19. Oh, I don't want to fight this. This makes me sad. I am going up against a giant ferret. Its armor class is 5, which is bad. It has 6 hit points. And it's got a bite that does as much damage as my sword. So let's go ahead and see if it wants Okay, we both rolled 1s. I rolled a 2 that time, and it rolled a 3. So it does get to go after me first. It has the same level as the giant beetle, so it needs a 14 to hit me. My wife will now clear her throat ominously to go with the ferret. A 6. That is not a hit. I'm going to go ahead and throw out some food. So that is another fight that I have bravely avoided like a coward. But it's a ferret. I like ferrets. I'm very fond of ferrets. Okie dokie. And, of course, the only exit is L73. Okay. Am I done looking for alcohol? No. This dark room is 12 feet wide and 20 feet long. A door stands in the north wall. The smell of strong beer fills the room. Your vision blurs and your knees wobble. You now have a hit roll penalty of -1 for the rest of the time you are in Lion Castle. Okay. Remember, kids, drinking is bad. -1 to hit rolls while in L rooms. Okay, back to 73. Still continuing to ignore the obvious choice. Let's look at pet food, L83. This dark room is 12 feet wide and 20 feet long. A door stands in the south wall. Out of the darkness, a monster attacks you. You are the pet food. That's actually very clever. You automatically lose initiative. Follow the steps in R14 to determine what type of monster has attacked you. Okay, so it's going to get the first attack. And D12 plus 8. Wasn't that long ago? You would think I would remember, but I didn't. One of these things is the die I'm looking for. One of these things belongs. There we go. 9 plus 11 is a 20, which is another of those gosh darn sturges. Okay, so its hit dice is 1 exactly, so it needs a 15 to hit me. That is a 9. It does not hit me. I don't think a sturge would accept. Here, mosquito, have some dried sausage. I don't think that's going to work. So I'm going to go ahead and fight back. I don't think I'm ready to use one of the spells from my scroll just yet. I need a 12. That is a 10. That is with my +1 an 11, which is still not a 12. Now, hold on a second. I'm actually an idiot. So I have a 14 strength, which I never actually bothered to check what the bonuses were, which would have been very useful to do. Okay, so 13 through 15 is a +1. So actually, that does hit. And I'd also get a +1 with a bow, but we'll ignore that for the moment. Okay, D8 plus 2. That is a 7, so that is a dead sturge, which means I now have 2 225 gold piece gems and 26 XP. Or you can nope. Go back through the south door. Okay, it's time for the obvious one. The treasury. This dark, empty room is 15 feet wide and 30 feet long. A door stands at the east wall. Suddenly, a huge blade swings past the door frame. Saving throw versus wands is 13, and that's a 15. So I am fine. And apparently there is nothing in this so-called treasury. I don't know if I came from the north or south staircase. It's been a while. Let's go through the north staircase wall. L62. I didn't defeat the Sturge. I didn't hit the Sturge because I also have a -1. Okay. So let's go back to the Sturge encounter. Okay. So I did miss, and it missed as well. Then I roll 3, it rolls a 4, so it gets the first attack. That's an 18, and it does 1 to 3 points of damage, and of course attaches itself to me. 2 points of damage. Yeah, so I didn't actually, it turns out, survive the battle with the Sturge. So actually following the rules sucks sometimes. So I will go ahead and make a note here. There. What was that? That was the pet food door. L83. Create annotation under cursor. This will be text. The text reads as follows. Leesmith died here. And I've got a printed out piece of paper here, so see character sheet. And there we have it. Okay. So I think that's a good enough time to call it a game. So, will I return here next week? That depends. What does it depend on? I am currently working on, speaking of bad time management, which is why I had to cancel last week, I am working on going through all my collection of solo role-playing games and solo journaling games and things that are neither and trying to organize them. So maybe I won't be done by then and I'll go ahead and continue here. Maybe I'll just feel like continuing here. Maybe I'll move on to something else. We shall all find out together, although I probably will have some ideas slightly beforehand. So with that, I bid you a good night. I will see you next week. And as always, try to be one of the good ones, because there are way too many of the bad. Good night.